Hold up. Wait a minute.
This is Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Critic, and I shoot straight from the hip.
Yeah, you know I'm always shooting straight from the hip.
Let's take a trip around the curve. Hi, everybody. It's your girl, Carla Renata, like 5,000 hours late. I know that I am. And you can see, you see everything. Ooh, that's terrible. But hey, how you doing? I have been so busy today that I haven't had a chance to get it together. But here I am in full effect. Anywho, if this is your first time joining me, give me a big thumbs up to let me know you were here. Click that bell for notifications if you were on YouTube, if you were watching this via Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. Welcome, y'all. Nice to see you. Glad to have you here. So, been real busy, but what we're going to do is today we're going to talk. And what I do here is I talk about movies and reviews, and I interview people every once in a while. And I normally have red hair, but today I have black hair because my hair is not acting right. So, wig we will do. So last weekend I went to the Wicked premiere. Yay, Wicked for good. Wicked for good. I went to the Wicked premiere and I was so excited. This is my little fit out that I wore. I was very excited about that. And then I met this young lady, Miss Cheryl Porter. Cheryl Porter does singing tutorial videos online, and she's very, very popular. She was on the Ellen Show and everything. She was sitting in front of me, I was sitting behind her, and we had a good little chuckle. Then I met these young men on the carpet, and we're standing in front of a car that has Wicked for Good on it. And we sat in that car and they did karaoke. I kind of laughed at them singing. I wasn't really singing. I was just mouthing along. So when you see the videos online of me sitting there and singing, it's not really me. It's them singing. Wasn't me. And then I met my little internet nephew, Eric. Eric is the young boy that everybody has seen on Instagram singing Defying Gravity within an inch of his life. His mommy shared some great news about his career that I will let her tell you and not me, but we are all very, very excited for him. And it was so lovely to finally meet him in the flesh. Also this week, Chadwick Boseman received a posthumous star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And this picture are his brothers, Derek and Kevin. Derek is to the left. In the middle is his wife, Simone. And on the right is Derek is on the left, Simone and Kevin. And I spoke with them about their brother. And I'll have that interview for you. And then this is everybody that was there on the carpet. There's Ryan, Kevin, Derek, Chad. Ooh, that was a slip. Derek, Simone, Kevin, Ryan in the background there, and Viola Davis, who they gave speeches and honored Chadwick Boseman beautifully. And we'll talk about his legacy and what that means for them. But I have an interview with them. I'm going to talk to Mandy Patinkin from a new show on a new network called The Artist, and I'll get into that in a little bit. I talked to Joseph Kosinski, the director of F1 with Brad Pitt, and we talked about those driving skills and those crashes. I also spoke to Ke Huy Quan, who is playing Gary the Snake in Zootopia 2, and he does some really wonderful things in the interview that I had with him. And of course, I'm speaking to Glenn Close from the Knives Out trilogy. This one is called Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out Mystery. I'll be speaking to her. Also this week, I went to a lot of events for sinners. This was a brunch that was held at the Four Seasons where I ran into my good girlfriend, Ruthie Carter. She was like, girl, let's take a picture. I said, okay. Then the night before, they had like a little juke joint situation. So that was me with like some butternut squash in my hand. And then I ran into my Howard University Bison, Lynn Whitfield, producer extraordinaire Effie Brown, and Vivica A. Fox. I took this picture with her because I was like, girl, if my brother knew I was here with you, he would lose his mind. She's like, come on, girl, let's take a picture. I'm like, okay, let's do it. So that's what we did. And then I hopped on over to the west side of LA to introduce the filmmakers and the producers for this film. It's a documentary called Speak. It's about, and it says now more than ever. And it centers around 4 different kids who are in an oratory or debating program, and it follows their journey and what they decide to speak about. Some of them have challenges speaking in public, some of them choke, some of them are just full throttle. The young lady you see in the poster is the woman that ends up winning the oratory program. And this is all of us after the event was over. The two kids on the right, the one on the far right is Sam. One of the producers there is Nathalie. And on the far left is Brian. He is a producer for Picture Motion. And so the director and co-director are the ones standing directly next to the poster. So it was a really wonderful night. I had a great time. All right, so let's get into The Artist with Mandy Patinkin. So this, let me come back on camera because I can't believe my own luck. So as I always say, I'm a musical theater baby. I love musical theater. It's my jam. And when I was growing up, Mandy Patinkin was the ish in musical theater. He was in Sunday in the Park with George. He was in Evita. He did a lot of Stephen Sondheim musicals, but he was also known for being not difficult, but he was very passionate and he spoke his mind, and he didn't care whether you like what he said or not. And he got a reputation for that. He also did his fair amount of TV along the way, and people from the film world may remember him when he did Yentl with Barbara Streisand. So that is the lowdown on Mandy Patinkin, but this is the lowdown on The Artist. The Artist is taking place. So I love my period pieces, and The Artist is taking place in the twilight of the Gilded Age. And we know that there's a series called The Gilded Age on HBO, but this is taking place during that same time. And there's a murder that strikes the state of an eccentric and failing tycoon played by Mandy Patinkin, as he hosts the era's biggest celebrities, including Thomas Edison, Edgar Degas, and Evelyn Nesbit. Lies, mystery, ambition collide as the truth is shockingly revealed. When I tell you it is a cast chock full of Broadway people, and I'm there for it. It is on a network called The Network, and to find it, you'll go to www.thenetwork.stream, www.thenetwork.stream. But The Network is a new free ad-supported premium streaming platform that launched in May 2024 by Aram, and I'll be talking to Aram next week, Aram Rappaport. And it started here in the US and it has grown to more than 2 million active users. The platform is built on always original, always free, and provides high quality original content to declutter the streaming experience and eliminates the endless scrolling by consumers to find what they want to watch next. To date, the network has 8+ originals, 1,500 hours of content, and releases at least one new original title each month. From this particular show, I have spoken with Catherine. Let me find my list because, child, I can't remember nothing. I've spoken with Catherine McPhee and Aram Rappaport. I'm going to speak with Janet Mateer from this whole series, and I'll have those interviews a little later because their episodes haven't come up yet. So I've been asked to hold on to their episodes just a little while longer. But the first 3 episodes are up right now, and you can see Mandy Patinkin in all his glory. But before I tell you any more about The Artist, I will let Mandy tell you everything that there is about it. We had so much fun, and he was absolutely delightful. So take a look and a listen to this interview with the one, the only Mandy Patinkin. Norman has little fits of rage. Is he a little bipolar? Does he have a little PTSD going on?
Well, he's me. They came to me, asked me to play it. so if it's a crossword puzzle, figure out 5 across. Okay. I'm not going to incriminate myself. I'm not taking the Fifth Amendment, but, pay attention.
Love you for that. Oh my God, that was pure comedy. You got me crying over here. That was hysterical.
I'm crying too, but for a different reason.
All right, Mandy. And last but not least, since this is kind of living in the lane of like a whodunit thriller, are you more of a whodunit thriller kind of guy or a true crime kind of dude?
Whodunit thriller kind of guy or true crime kind of good dude? I love a great mystery. I love a great murder mystery, and this is among a million other things. This is a murder mystery, and you got to try to figure out what's going to happen, and I love that. I do crossword puzzles every night. Those are mysteries. I love the unknown. I got married 47 years ago. There's no bigger mystery than that.
Okay, you know what? You got jokes at this hour of the day. You are killing me right now.
I gotta get to some business, or I'll get in trouble from everybody. I gotta tell people the most important thing is Aram Rappaport wanted to tell stories, and he didn't want to have to deal with all the stuff in Hollywood and everything, to such a degree. And so he started an advertising agency that was very successful, and he used that money, and that was his dream to make the stories he wanted to do. And then in this world, and what it's all become, he then started his own network. I don't know anyone that started their own network, and I met Aram, and he did. Who the heck does that? And here's how people get to this work, because we only did this for all the people to watch it. We didn't do it for just ourselves to do it. We did it to tell the story and for our audience's entertainment and fun, and a way to get away from the insanity of this fucking world right now, and beautiful world at the same time. It's crazy. We're all a little nuts, and we all need a break. So this piece is like sort of looking in the mirror, watching all of us being a little nuts and needing a break. But the most important thing to remember is to go to the network.stream. That's how you get there. And the best part of it is it is free. And I have dear friends that can't afford these expensive platforms that do wonderful work and create great shows, but they can't afford it, some of them. And this one is free. And I just don't know a better world to live in, where the stories that we make are yours for free.
And you are absolutely right. Well, thank you for that commercial for the network.
That's what I'm here. And then if you like that, I'd also like to sell you this new water bottle.
You know what, Mandy? Cut the shenanigans. You are killing me today. I'm going to talk to Aram about the network a little later on, so I'll expound upon what you shared with me. But let me just close it out and tell you, this was an absolute delight to speak to you. You are awesome. And the vulnerability and the manic thing that you bring to Norman is just delicious to watch. Thank you so much.
Oh, bless you. Thank you for doing this for us, and have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Do well. Bye-bye.
I could have talked to Mandy Patinkin all day long, because he's got shenanigans. He's freaking hilarious, but he's even better in the artist. Again, the site is thenetwork.stream, www.thenetwork.stream, and I'll put it up in a little bit. I'm going to run to this comment real quick from Brandon. He says he's been watching the final season of My Hero Academia. Okay. All right. Get with that. And thank you for popping through, Brandon. Brandon's always here. He's so loyal. I kind of love him for that. All right. So the artist, you guys, and again, I'll have Catherine McPhee and Janet Mateer and the person who created the network, Aram Rappaport, in a couple of weeks. Having said that, I didn't finish telling. Did I finish telling? Yeah, I did tell you what I did last week. Okay. So what else do I have? Oh, yeah. So I also had an opportunity to talk to, I told you at the beginning that I spoke with Chadwick Boseman's brothers, Derek and Kevin. Chadwick received let me pull the pictures up so that you guys can see. He got the star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame posthumously this past week. There's his wife in the middle, and his brothers are flanking her. And also at that ceremony were Ryan Coogler and Viola Davis. As Kevin says, when I interview him, it's a little bittersweet, because of course we would rather have him here, and they would rather have their brother here to celebrate with them. But baby, we had a really wonderful conversation where they laughed and they reminisced about the person that is their brother. He's their brother, but to us, he will forever be the iconic Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman.
Hey, how you doing?
How are you?
I'm good. I am so good. So, as a Howard University graduate, it's been so beautiful to watch one of our own have their legacy cemented in this way, domestically and around the globe. What has it meant for both of you as his brothers?
For me, his memory, I mean, just imagine that your sister or your brother lives a life that's so impactful that people are making busts of him and statues of him and naming buildings after him and making songs about him. It just makes you proud, because Chad was like our baby. People talk to us like we were Chad's fans. We weren't Chad's fans. We're Chad's brothers.
You're his family. Yeah, that's why I said as his brothers. What does that feel like? Because that's different than somebody that's a fan.
So it's like you're proud to see your little brother be awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of being his brothers, what is the funniest memory that y'all have of growing up? Because I have a little brother. I'm the oldest in my family. And so we have shenanigans. We have stories that we remember that's something that nobody else would know but us, right? So growing up, what is one of the memories that y'all have that when you think about it, it just brings a big old smile to your face?
I think we could both answer, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
I
think it's we used to play church in the house.
Church? How you play church? Okay, you got to break that down for me, Derek, because I ain't never heard of such a thing.
It was this revival preacher who had come to town, and he was very animated, and all three of us sang on the choir.
Yes.
At different times. Yeah. And so I was the preacher, and I had my robe, and I used the broom as a microphone, and he was hooping. You know how preachers hoop.
Yep.
And I think he was saying something like that. I
grew up Kojic. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was the preacher, and they were the choir. And that's the funniest thing that I remember us doing as kids.
I don't. You see me laughing. So
I mean,
very funny, and I really, in a way, can't think of anything to top it.
Because I'm glad I asked that, because we all have that story. We all have that story with our siblings that when we think about it, it just cracks us up, and it's meaningful. It's not that meaningful to anybody else, but it's massively meaningful to us. So I'm glad that I asked that. And Derek, that is funny that you was playing a pastor and you a pastor. That is just funny to me. That is funny to me, because it goes to show you that, when they say whatever they do as a child, they end up doing as an adult. I was singing as a child and I sing as an adult.
We were in the womb going to church, and I remember being taught like all of the Bible stories out of this big old Bible, and all three of us were raised the exact same way. It's like you going to church, you're gonna know your Sunday school lesson, your shoes gonna be shined, you're gonna be looking good.
Not your shoes gonna be shined.
Yes. But all of that bodes well. Has been great training, because we know how to put on a suit and some shoes and look good now.
Okay, you're funny.
When we go to church or to a business meeting, we've been trained on what to do. It wasn't just our parents, it's our grandparents too. Like our grandfather was the superintendent of the Sunday school and the deacon of the church. That's
funny.
This is a different church than the one that we grew up in. So if we're with our grandparents, our other set of grandparents, and we go to church, our granddaddy is running the whole church, other than the only person that's in front of him is the pastor. So
that's funny. We have more in common than we have not in common. Right before I go, I know it's my time, but Kevin, I want you to talk to me about Dark Mondays. That's your podcast, right?
Yeah, so I launched a podcast, Dark Mondays, with Kevin Bozeman. It's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube at the moment. And I am a theater person. I've done Broadway. I've toured with Broadway shows. And I am looking at theater through a social, cultural, and political lens. So I am doing deep dives into the plot and characters. I am reviewing theater when I go see it, and I'm interviewing insiders about about their careers in theater.
Okay, we got that in common too. I was on Broadway. What shows were you in?
So I did a play, Equus, in 2008. And then I have toured with The Lion King, The Color Purple, Shrek the Musical.
We have The Lion King in common. I did The Lion King in LA. I was in the original LA company. I played Shinzi.
I saw you then. I saw that original cast. I did, yes. So I know Celise.
Yes.
Bernard Gaddis.
Yes.
Stephanie Powell. Yeah.
Yes.
All friends of
Those
mine.
are all my booskies.
All friends of mine, yes.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so happy I had a chance to speak with you guys and talk to you.
Is that Malcolm X or is that Jamie Foxx in the background?
No, baby, that's Malcolm X.
Yeah.
don't like that.
But I can see the hand up against the glass.
That's Malcolm X. Yeah.
Picture, yeah, that iconic.
No problem. But that's my time, y'all. Thank you so much and congratulations on behalf of your little brother. And we're gonna keep the legacy living.
Thank you, Carla. So nice to meet you.
It was important for me to do that interview. Thank you, Derek and Kevin. It was important for me to do that interview because they're right. They are not his fans. They are his family. They are his brothers. And to us, we have lost a fabulous actor whose work we love to love on and celebrate, but they lost a family member, an insurmountable loss, a loss that they will never, ever be able to replace. So thank you again, Derek and Kevin, for giving me your time to speak with you. I really enjoyed the conversation. And Kevin, I'm going to check out that podcast because it sounds like it's really something worth listening to. All right. Ke Huy Quan, you guys know him. He's an Oscar-winning actor from Everything Everywhere All at Once that took Everything Everywhere All at Once a couple of years ago when it came to the Oscars. Well, now he is doing voiceovers, and he's done it before, but he's never voiced a snake. And I'm going to let him tell you all about it. Listen to Ke Huy Quan talk about his character, Gary the Snake, in Zootopia 2. Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing very well. Super excited to be talking to you about Zootopia 2.
Oh, yay. I'm excited to talk to you too. So I know that 2025 is the year of the snake and that snakes have had some juicy roles in Disney animation features in the past, like Kaa from the Jungle Book and Sir Hiss from Robin Hood. But what makes Gary the Snake different in the Utopia universe?
Well, first of all, I was so excited when I got offered to play Gary the Snake. And looking back my own career, I feel like, Snake has been a big part of it. If you look at Indiana Jones, there were snakes in it. My character Ouroboros in Loki, in the MCU, that name is it's a snake eating its own tail. And now here we are, Gary the Snake in the Year of the Snake. It's been incredible. The difference, a lot of times when we think of snakes, we think of them as poisonous and creepy and yucky, and we don't want anything to do with them. But what's so special about this version of the snake, my character Gary the Snake, is that when you meet him, he's actually very friendly. He's very goofy. He looks at everything with a sense of wonder and curiosity, and he has a big heart.
How do you feel about snakes now that you've inhabited this role, animated wise? Do you like them, love them, or could you leave them?
Okay, I got to tell you, if I'm being honest, before I played Gary the Snake, I was actually very afraid of it, just like a lot of people. But having gone through the experience of playing him, I'm not as afraid anymore. I've done some social content where I was touching it, I was playing with it, I was holding it, and I actually learned something that, normally you would think it's really creepy, which is when a snake is slithering on you and their tongue is going in and out, which is something that we think is kind of creepy, it's actually their way of smelling. Snakes use their tongue to smell. And I just thought that was fascinating. I did not know that. So that's why, it's what I love about Zootopia is that it invites us to look beyond like stereotypes and bias and prejudice and all of that, and to really try to understand that individual for who they are. I mean, as cliche as this sounds, never judge a book by its cover. Give people a chance, and I hope Gary the Snake would do that for people.
Look at you, Kiwi, making it all deep about the snakes in Zootopia too. I loved your explanation for that, because I didn't know about the tongue either. So that's some really good intel. Thank you.
No,
Thank
I mean,
you for-
neither did I until just very recently. But that's why, when we don't know something, we fear it.
Yep.
That's why I love that, I believe empathy is the antidote to prejudice. And when we spend more time understanding others' experiences, eventually fear will give way to connection. And now, I love snakes.
Well, good for you. I don't think I'll ever be on that plane. I think I'll ever be on the I love snake train, but
at least you won't be scared of it. How's that? You'll be open to it. How's that?
okay. I'm gonna take your. I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna take your word for it. Now I know that you were a huge fan of Zootopia 1, right?
Yeah.
What was your favorite animal from that version?
Oh, that is an easy question. I remember seeing the trailer in the movie theater, and when Flash the Sloth showed up in the DMV, oh my gosh! Like, wanted, just because of that scene, I wanted to watch that movie on opening night, and I did, and it did not disappoint. I was laughing so hard, and I've seen it many times since. And I saw it, in fact, on my flight over. I saw it again and on the plane, and that scene cracks me up.
It's hilarious. It's my favorite scene too. So we're in symbiotic with that, because I laughed my booty off every time I see that.
Yeah. So here's my review for Zootopia 2. Are you ready?
Hit me.
Okay.
That was pure comedy. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Before I let you go, I want to ask you one last thing. This is your second animated film, right? Which do you prefer? Because you're such a huge presence on camera with the physicality. Which do you prefer as an actor? Do you like being on camera, or do you like being able to stretch and do things with just your voice?
I like both now. I've always loved live action. I'm still kind of new to voice acting, and what's really special about voice acting is you spent such a long time in a recording booth having no clue what the final product is going to be like. And when you see it, which I did, I got a sneak peek of Zootopia 2, and you just like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I'm part of this. I'm so happy to be part of something like Zootopia, and also to be, to be a Disney character. That's amazing. I love both, and I hope I get to do more of voice acting.
I'm sure you will. That's my time, but I just want to tell you before I go, I'm such a huge fan of your work. You're such an amazing actor, and now that I've had an opportunity to speak to you, you're an even more amazing person and human being. Thank you so much for letting me have some time to chat with you today. I really appreciate it.
Well, you're very kind. I really enjoy our chat. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Have a good day.
Bye. He was absolutely lovely. It was the best conversation, and I meant what I said. He is a fantastic actor, but he's an even better human being, and I really enjoyed talking to him. Zootopia 2 is a Disney animation joint. It is in theaters right now. Actually, no, not right now. I said this last time too. I keep wanting it to be out now, but it comes out on November 26th, just in time for Thanksgiving. So it is totally a family-friendly film. You don't want to miss it, and you definitely want to have a good time. Last but certainly not least, I think I got everybody. Yeah. So last but certainly not least, I spoke with Tony winner, Oscar-nominated actress Glenn Close. So I have an anecdote, and I think I may have said this in the interview, but in the event that I did not, I'll tell you here. So when I was when I was performing on the Tony Awards for my very first Broadway show, and the only time I performed on the Tony Awards, I was part of the ensemble, the singing and dancing ensemble of How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. And we were getting ready to go on to do our number from the show, because oftentimes when a show is nominated for a Tony, they'll do a number from the show to try to get people to go to the theater to see it post the award show. So we were standing in the wings getting ready to see the show, and I was having a moment where I was very verklempt over the fact that for years I had watched the Tony Awards with my mother, and now I was about to perform on the Tony Awards, and my mother was going to be watching me the way we watched so many other performers before me, and it was a real moment for me. But the other real moment for me at that time was we did the Tony Awards at the Minskoff Theater in Times Square, and that is the theater where Sunset Boulevard was playing. My mother loves Glenn Close and really wanted to go see Sunset Boulevard. But the weekend that she called me to tell me that she wanted to go see Glenn Close, it was closing weekend. And it literally was the day before her last performance. And I happened to be at a party with some fellow Broadway performers and was telling the story. And one of the Broadway performers was one of the female leads in Sunset Boulevard. She played the young aspiring writer Betty. Her name is Alice. Alice went on to win the Tony Award for Next to Normal, but that night she was in Sunset Boulevard as the female lead, and she said, "Hey, I have a house seat available. Would you like it?" I'm like, "Sure, I'll grab it from you." And I got a house seat, threw my mother on a train from DC, and she took a train to DC, and we went to see Glenn Close's last performance of Sunset Boulevard. It was really something. But I wanted to share that story before I get into this crazy ass character that she plays in Knives Out. It's called Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery, and it is the third series in the Knives Out mystery films by Rian Johnson. The last two, and they're always really big star-studded cast, and this one is no different. This time, though, we're dealing with a priest, and there is a murder of a priest, and we're trying to figure out who killed him, and that is what the mystery is along the way. Martha Delacourt is the woman who Glenn Close plays, and she has a very strong tie to all of it, to how it all plays out. And I can't tell you because then you'll know what the movie is about. But when I tell you, the dialogue in this film is freaking hilarious. We got Kerry Washington up in there. We got Josh O'Connor, who I call Hot Priest. I talked about this before when I came back from TIFF. We got Jeremy Renner up in there. We got so many stars. Josh Brolin is in it. There's so many stars that are in this movie. It'll make your head spin. But I did have an opportunity to sit down and talk with Glenn about Knives Out. And she gave Niecy Nash some praise from her other show that she's on simultaneously. She's in a TV series called All's Fair, which has gotten all kinds of unfair criticism from the powers that be. It is a Hulu show starring Kim Kardashian. Glenn Close is in it, Sarah Paulson, Niecy Nash, Tiana Taylor, Naomi Watts. I mean, it's just, and every guest star is like a star-studded guest star. It's just a cavalcade of stars. But without further ado, here's my conversation with Tony winner, Oscar-nominated actress Glenn Close.
Hello, Carla. What a great chair you're in.
Well, honey, you know, a sister got to do what she got to do.
That's right.
I just want to start out by saying my mom absolutely adores you, as do I. And I remember meeting you backstage when you won the Tony. I was in How to Succeed. And yeah, it was right before we were about to perform, and you and Lilius were like holding hands.
Yeah.
And talking. But my mom was dogmatic about coming to your last performance. So we saw your last performance as Norma Desmond. So I just want to tell you that you're phenomenal. And and you're having I'm loving this new Glenn Close era. You're working with, listen, you're working with the Tyler Perrys, the Ryans, the Murphys, the Ryan Johnsons. You're doing stunts.
I haven't worked with Tyler Perry. I've worked with Lee Daniels.
Lee Daniels, that's right.
Yeah,
My bad.
yeah.
Lee Daniels. Monique, you quoting the butt by EU. Like, I'm loving this new Glenn Close era. Having said that, what is it that makes you take a call or a meeting for a role before you say yes? Because your portfolio is very diversified. You never do the same thing twice.
No. Well, first of all, there are very, very few actors. I'm sure there are some. Most actors aren't sure where their next job is going to come from. You're very, very lucky if you know that. So it's not a question of choosing to take the call or not. It's like, you take the call.
I know, that's right. You're like, I need a gig.
Yeah, man.
I love you for that. Speaking of acting, I know that with characters like Martha and Cruella, there's a lot of vocal tension and screaming and yelling and crying and all of that goes on. I know as an actor, it's very taxing on your voice. What do you do to protect your voice from all of that trauma? Because it's a lot and you're not doing it in one take.
No, the only time that I have actually lost my voice for 5 days was after I played the pirate in Peter Pan, and I was disguised as a pirate, and they put me in the boo-boo box, and I screamed for like 3 hours, and I lost my voice. The other time I've totally lost my voice was one time when the second time I came back with Sunset Boulevard to Broadway, and I opened my mouth one morning and nothing came out.
Oh, I overstand. Been there, done that. That's frightening. It's the worst.
I missed one performance. Of course, it was Mother's Day, which was horrible. And then, but then I just went to the theater and said to the audience, "I'm here. There's the only place in the world I want to be. I'm having problems with my voice, but let's do the show." So
listen, you're a trooper. You are a true professional. Last but not least, what is your favorite murder mystery, and what is it as an actress that excites you about unraveling this puzzle for the audience?
Was Gosford Park a murder mystery?
It's kind of in that lane, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And I mean, I'm really partial to Wake Up Dead Man.
Of course you are.
I can't answer that question, honestly, because I have not sat down and watched a lot of murder mysteries lately.
That's quite all right. All right. But I figured I'd shoot my shot and I'd ask. Because that's how I roll. But yeah. Little bit of time that I have, I just want to glow you up and tell you that you are so phenomenal and you're so legendary, and it's so amazing to see you continue to work and evolve and grow as an actress. You give those of us that are of a certain age hope that, you know, when you get to that place in your life and in your career, it doesn't end. It just keeps going as far as you take it. So thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. And you look beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
You look wonderful. So bravo. Lovely to talk to you.
Snaps and claps. Thank you.
And I'm working with Niecy, who I adore. Niecy Nash.
Oh yeah, on All's Fair.
Yeah, she is. Boy, I love the way Niecy lives life.
She lives it like there's no tomorrow.
But she's also a really good lady.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, girl, they give me the hook. I gotta go.
Okay.
I love that. I love that she was so transparent and so honest, and that she is glowing up her coworkers like Niecy Nash. And she, at one point, I think for a split second before we cut the camera on, she was talking about Kim Kardashian, and she was saying that Kim was studying for the bar exam to get her law license while they were shooting All's Fair. So if you haven't seen All's Fair, check it out. I checked out a couple of episodes, and I'm not gonna lie, the first couple of episodes, I was like, what are we doing right now? Like, what law? My god sister is a lawyer, and she ain't wearing them kind of fashions. She got a nice house, but it ain't no house like that. But I was just like, okay, what are we doing right now? And then the more I watch it, it's kind of sort of growing on me. And I'm kind of like, it's kind of like my guilty pleasure. I'm not even gonna lie. But check out Knives Out, Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out murder mystery. It's gonna come to Netflix a little later, but it may be in theaters. A theater near you right now. I think it opened on the 21st of November and is coming to Netflix like in the next couple of weeks or so. All right. So just to recap, you guys, make sure that you check out, and I just told you about Knives Out, a dead man murder mystery. Check out The Artist. It's on the network.stream. The network.stream. The network.stream. It stars Janet McTeer, Mandy Patinkin, Danny Houston, Hank Azaria, Patti LuPone, Clark Gregg, Zachary Quinto, so many people. And I'm going to be back with Patti LuPone and Catherine McPhee and Aram Rappaport, who created The Artist. So make sure you check that out now. The first 3 episodes are up now. The second 3 episodes will be up closer to the Christmas holiday. If you haven't already seen Sinners, go see Sinners. Check it out so that we can have a conversation about that. Also, you need to go see Zootopia 2 on November 26th, just in time for Thanksgiving. All right, now let's get into Wicked for Good. I couldn't talk about it when I was at the premiere last week because I was at the premiere last week and it was under embargo until the 19th. So I couldn't really talk about it until after the premiere was over because I think the premiere was I went to the premiere on the 17th. And the film was still under embargo. So let me tell you what I think about that. But before we do that, you love Judy Hopps' character. I love Judy Hopps' character in Zootopia 2 as well. I love Judy and the fox, actually. And you so can't wait for Zootopia 2. Let me tell you, you're going to absolutely love it. It was so, so much fun. I really, really enjoyed it. And it's a great sequel to the first edition. Thank you, Brandon. Love you so much for that. All right. So let's talk a little bit about this Wicked for Good. So for those of you who saw Wicked, the first iteration was light and fluffy. We were talking about this relationship between Glinda and Elphaba and how they meet, how they become friends, and how them becoming friends forces them to make choices that end up not being great for either one of them for a variety of reasons. But the first half was very fluffy, very fun. Everybody loved it. And even the people who had never seen Wicked the musical were all on the Oz train. A year later, almost to the day, because Wicked opened on Broadway, I believe on November 13th back in the day. All right, so now we're almost a year later and we've got Wicked for Good. Now this is the second act of the musical. It's the second act of the musical. It's not light and fluffy. There are light and fluffy moments, but it is not light and fluffy. It's very, very, very dark. We get to see a side of Glinda. Glinda comes into her own in this film. She begins to sheds the Glinda the Good image for a minute to protect her peace, so to speak. But we get to find out how Glinda the Good becomes Glinda the Good. We get to see how Dorothy comes to Oz, and we never see Dorothy's face. We see how the Tin Man becomes a Tin Man. We see how the Scarecrow becomes a Scarecrow. We don't necessarily we don't necessarily see how the Cowardly Lion becomes the Cowardly Lion. We hear him talk about it, but we don't actually get to see that because, again, Wicked for Good is about Elphaba and Glinda and their journey and the people that are in their orbit. We do get to see the wizard get called out for the fraud that he is, which, is what happens in The Wizard of Oz. So that's not a surprise to anybody. Madame Morrible gets called out for the fraud that she is. And it's funny because when I'm watching Wicked for Good, I'm thinking Madame Morrible has been a inspiration, so to speak, for Glinda. And she's kind of nasty. So there's no surprise that Glinda ends up being a little nasty too, because the person that was her mentor was Madame Morrible, who's not light and fluffy. And she's not the nicest person you ever want to meet. She's beautiful and gorgeous and all the things, but she got a little edge to her. And so you get to see Glinda have a little edge to her too. And I feel bad for Glinda because Glinda is on this thing where one minute she loves Elphaba and the next minute she kind of throwing her under the bus. And it's a lot of yin and yang between the two of them. But they've added 2 new songs to this iteration, because what happens is when a film like this comes out, the score cannot be considered for a best score or a best song because it's coming from pre-released material, i.e. the Broadway production, right? So they had to add 2 new songs. They added a song for Cynthia Erivo, and they also added a song for Ariana Grande called The Girl in the Bubble. I personally love the Girl in the Bubble song. I felt like the song that believe Cynthia wrote this song for herself. And it just, compared to when she sings No Good Deed, it just doesn't reach the heights that No Good Deed does for her. But what I do love about Wicked for Good is that you do see this in the musical, and you do read this when you read Gregory Maguire's book. Elphaba has like a little love thing. So we see in Wicked that Fiyero has a thing for Elphaba, but he makes the safe choice and he goes with Glinda because him being who he is, that is what is expected of him. But in Wicked for Good, he doesn't make that choice. He doesn't make the safe choice, and he hooks up with Elphaba to his detriment, because they don't get to run off and be happily ever after, or so we think. We also get to see Nessa Rose go from being this sweet, misunderstood chick in a wheelchair to having a little bit of an edge too. And we get to see all the women, Elphaba, Nessa Rose, and Glinda, all end up having a little bit of edge and a little bass in their voice this time around. So it's not light and fluffy. So if you're going into Wicked for Good thinking it's going to be light and fluffy and fun and the musical theater thing that you saw in the first half, that is not what it's going to be. But what it is going to do is it's going to tear your heart out of your chest, and you're going to be in the ugly cry. Because when I tell you, by the time For Good rolls around, you're going to be in the ugly cry. People around me were snotting and snorting and blowing noses all around me. It was a hot mess. I got mine out the week before because I saw it the week before it came out. So I'm kind of glad I did, because it gave me the opportunity to snot and snort in private and not in public in my makeup and all my little fancy clothes. But baby, one thing the Wicked franchise is going to do is it's going to tug at them heartstrings, and it's going to make you feel some kind of way, and it's going to invoke all of those feelings and all that stuff that you have in your core from watching whatever you felt the very first time you saw The Wizard of Oz. You're going to feel all those things when you watch Wicked and Wicked for Good. So the costumes, of course, are fantabulous by Oscar winner Paul Tazwell. I feel like John M. Chu is very underestimated as a director. For this man to pull off what he has pulled off with these 2 films is nothing short of phenomenal. And I don't think that he gets enough credit for it. I really don't. I never had an opportunity to speak to him for either one of the films. They didn't really do a press tour this time around for Wicked for Good. They did a lot of mainstream press, like the Today Show, Good Morning America, Jimmy Fallon, things like that, because by this time, everybody's schedules are just so full, and they just didn't have the wherewithal and time to do a lot. So that their press was very minimal, and they didn't really do the carpet either toward the end because of that incident that happened where a guy jumped onto the red carpet and put his arm around Ariana Grande, scaring the hell out of her and everybody else with them. But I was kind of like, where was security? They were not, whoever was on security for that gig, they all need to be fired. Like, how did that guy even get that close? That was stupid. Anywho, I said what I said, and I meant what I said. Oh, and then I forgot, I also did a Q&A for Hedda, Tessa Thompson's new movie directed by Nia DaCosta. I did that for Film Independent over at the Aero Theater in Santa Monica. If you have not seen Hedda, with Tessa Thompson, you are really missing something. She is giving the performance of a lifetime in this film. And it's gorgeous, gorgeous to look at and watch. It really quite is something to see. All right, that does it for me. When I come back next week, I'm going to have Janet McTeer from The Artist. Let me find her. I'm going to have Janet McTeer from The Artist. I'm also going to have, finally, I've been teasing this interview for 5,000 years. I'm going to have Cassandra Freeman from Bel Air. I'm also going to have Lucy Liu from a film called Rosemead. And I'm going to have all of the women from One Battle After Another. I'm going to have Chase Infinity. I'm going to have Regina Hall. And I'm going to have Tiana Taylor. And let me tell you something. I have not been very vocal about One Battle After Another on this podcast because I had very definitive feelings about it. But what I will tell you is that I spoke to Tiana Taylor and she kind of changed my mind on some things. So I'm excited for you to hear what she has to say. All right, I am out of here. Again, if this is your first time joining me, click that bell for notifications. If you are on YouTube, give me a big thumbs up to let me know that you popped by, whether you were here in real time or whether you stopped by after the fact. I so appreciate you. And yeah, y'all, keep it light, keep it fluffy, and thank you so much. Until the next time, love, peace, and hair grease, and deuces. I'll see you next week. Oh, and happy Thanksgiving. Eat some turkey, honey, because I'm going to eat some turkey in my pajamas. I am so excited. I can't even stand it. And then I'm going to St. Louis. So I'll hit y'all next week from St. Louis. Okay, bye.
Hold up. Wait a minute. I wish you love.